Everybody. Today, lecture 7, Theaetetus, Plato's Refutation of empiricism and relativism, as a preparation for his metaphysics. Plato's dialogue Theaetetus deals with a lot of philosophical themes. Among them are Socrates' midwifery, Protagoras Man-Measure Statement, the flux theory of Heracleitus, Parmenides' immovable being, the comparison of the mind to an aviary, various steps of knowledge, etc. Maybe we can define Theaetetus' dialogue as Plato's endeavor to refute and overcome the empiricism and relativism in the name of a famous sophist Protagoras. From this point of view, Theaetetus is regarded as Plato's trial and preparation for the foundation of metaphysics as an absolute knowledge. However, Plato's effort to build an absolute philosophy take in the first phrase on the form of epistemology, as an attempt to answer the question, what is the knowledge on the whole? The epistemological endeavor, however, resulted in nothing. Socrates' effort to reach the nature of knowledge runs into difficulties, aporia. In my opinion, the answer to what knowledge is to be found in the Republic as the idea theory. Therefore, the Theaetetus may be thought of as a preparation for the Republic. So to speak, the Plato's Theaetetus is compared to the critique of the pure reason by Immanuel Kant, in which the foundation of human cognition is analyzed and limited, proceeding from the lower to the higher by three stages, in which perception, opinion, reasoning are successively examined. We first get rid of the confusion of the idea of knowledge and the specific kinds of knowledge. Benjamin Jowett. In his view, Jowett referred to the dialectical element of the Theaetetus. While lower step of knowledge is annihilated, the higher step of knowledge appears. Where is it? Vision. As in Hegel's phenomenology of spirit, the truth of a lower step is preserved in the higher step. In the Theaetetus, the initial form of knowledge is perception knowledge. Plato's Socrates asked young Theaetetus the nature of knowledge. In reply to this, Theaetetus says that knowledge is a sensible perception. In this regard, perception knowledge can be associated to Berkeley's empiricism, esse est percipi. Then Socrates associated instantly the knowledge issue with the relativism of Protagoras as follows. Well, you have delivered yourself of a very important doctrine about knowledge. It is indeed the opinion of Protagoras, who has another way of expressing it. Man, he says, is the measure of all things, of the existence of things that are, and of non-existence of things that are not. Protagoras Man-Measure Statement is therefore related to the existence and the non-existence of things. The perception's knowledge is declared as the same as the Man-Measure Statement of Protagoras. Jowett wonders, however, if this connection is Plato's own interpretation. The relativism of Protagoras has something to do with the problem of existence and the non-existence and the flux theory of Heracleitus. Consequently, the relativism or subjectivism come to be connected with other philosophies, that is, those of Heracleitus and Parmenides. However, Heracleitus' philosophy of universal flux is superior to that of Parmenides' philosophy of unchangeable being. According to Plato, the relativism as perception knowledge rests on the flux theory of Heracleitus. The motionless being of Parmenides is opposed to the flux theory. Previous commentators of Theaetetus had neglected Plato's frequent references to Parmenides and his thought in Theaetetus. Plato's Socrates failed to reveal the nature of knowledge in Theaetetus because Socrates, as Plato's advocates, cannot find truth with the party of Protagoras, Heracleitus, and Empedocles, that is, with the story of relativism, empiricism, and the universal flux as a theory of becoming and motion. Plato thinks of the tale of immovable being and that of forms, but does not discuss it in detail. The connection of being and the form will be achieved in Republic. But out of motion and change and the mixture of all things are becoming relatively to one another, which becoming is by us incorrectly called being, but is really becoming, for nothing ever is. But all things are becoming. Someone, all philosophers, Protagoras, Heracleitus, Empedocles, and the rest of them, one after another, and with the exception of Parmenides, they will agree with you in this. According to Plato's translation, Protagoras, Heracleitus, and Empedocles go hand in hand. As the advocates of the universal flux, they are all opposed to Parmenides as that of the constant being. Even Homer is supposed to take part in the flux theory. This may be an oversimplification of historical relation. Plato supposed that the majority of the intellectuals favored the universal flux of Heracleitus. When the latter, Homer of the tragedy, sings of the ocean whence sprang the gods and the mother Theaetetus, does it not mean that all things are the offspring of flux and motion? Otherwise, Plato stressed the motionless being of Parmenides against all the common source of that time. The emphasis of the motionless being will be later in the Republic even more important. Then once more, is it your opinion that nothing is but what becomes, the good and the noble as well as all the other things which we were just now mentioning? Sensible perception guaranteed the certainty of being before my eyes. What is and what is not is decided by my judgment of perception. Then my perception is true to me, being inseparable from my own being. And as the Protagoras says, to myself I am judge of what is and what is not to me. Although Plato summons the flux theory of Heracleitus and other thinkers in order to analyze the relativism of Protagoras, a successful refutation of the relativism takes place in another way. When the truth is someone's perception, he is always right. Therefore, nobody needs to be taught. There is no difference of knowledge. Nobody can be wiser than me because I am the measure of the truth. For if truth is only sensation and no man can discern another's feeling better than he or has any superior right to determine whether his opinion is true or false. But each, as we have several times repeated, is to himself the sole judge, and everything that he judges is true and right. Why, my friend, should Protagoras be preferred to the place of wisdom and instruction, and deserve to be well paid, and we poor ignoramuses have to go to him if each one is the measure of his own wisdom? Socrates put the weakness of the Protagoras very succinctly. If my judgment is always right, and I myself is the place of wisdom and instruction, I did not learn wisdom and knowledge from someone else. Protagoras' relativism has a contradiction. As a teaching business, it advocates the argument that everyone is right. Man is a measure of all things. Protagoras man might mean client or customer who needs sophist counseling or service. Protagoras was allegedly well paid for his teaching. Sophists were believed to help people strengthen their opinion and arguments. However, Man-Measure Statement is contradictory in itself. Another strong argument against the perception knowledge is the problem of recollection. Plato formed this problem as follows. We asked you recollect whether a man who has learned something and remembers it does not know it. When it comes to knowledge as a perception, knowledge is present because perception is always present. Rigorously to say, previous perception is not perception anymore. Previous perception belongs to the realm of reflection, memory, and thought. Therefore, the knowledge is separated from perception. And so the Protagorean tale was brought to note, and yours also, about the identity of knowledge and perception. Knowledge and judgment. The perception here had the same meaning as the impression. Knowledge as a perception or impression was disproved by the argument of equality and the transience of perception. The next two stages of cognition followed by the perception knowledge. knowledge as judgment and knowledge as judgment with account. That is, the knowledge is as assertion and reasoning to be thought of. However, the basic insight is similar to that of the perceptual knowledge. The subjective approach to the possibility of knowledge runs into difficulties, aporia. Meanwhile, several important facts about epistemology is found. The problem of mistake and that of right or wrong of cognition. The error of judgment knowledge is solved through the concept of a pair of heaven and possession, and further through the allegory of aviary, which again can be referred to regression theory from Meno by Plato. Socrates, well, may not a man possesses and yet not have knowledge in the sense of which I am speaking. As you may suppose a man to have caught wild birds, doves, or any other birds, and to be keeping them in an aviary, which he has constructed at home. We might say of him, in a sense, that he always has them because he possesses them. Maybe not, might be not. Here, an aviary refers to the mind of each man, and the various birds refer to sorts of knowledge. To possess knowledge means to acquire knowledge. To have knowledge means to use the knowledge. Through the aviary tale, we can explain many things related to knowledge. For example, learning, mistake, and forget. In the words of Socrates, and so we are rid of the difficulty of a man's not knowing what he knows, which originates from Meno. However, the last problem of epistemology is not yet solved with the allegory of the aviary, because the fallibility of knowledge cannot be blocked from subjective standpoint. Knowledge should be the identity of being and thought, as is case by Parmenides. Relativism, empiricism, and the universal flux cannot give the validity of knowledge. We must wait for Republic. So far, so good. See you later. Thank you very much for your listening and your attention to my lecture. Vielen Dank.